Hello, everyone. Anne from the Easing Spirit here. And I'm kind of winging it again on this topic today. The topic that I want to talk about is what's for your greater good. That's what we'll say. We'll say this is all about what is for your greater good on your spiritual journey. I have been trying to cultivate a friends with benefits relationship with somebody, right? To be able to make a connection with someone and have a friendship that is not based on we're trying to build a relationship of being together. Sure, we're getting to know each other, and I thought to myself, well, I could have a friendship with someone. I could cultivate that friendship. We could have a benefits situation, and we could just not have feelings involved, right? Although when I really, really, really examine it, unless you're a heartless person, that's damn near impossible. So I've came to the realization that having a friends with benefits relationship with somebody is also going to entail feelings and connections. Okay. Although the other thing that I've realized is in the fact that I keep trusting the process on where I'm supposed to be, whether I should or shouldn't be in a relationship with somebody, whether it's a friends with benefits, whether it's just intimate connections or whatever it is, right? I came to the realization that I have no control over it. So, and I don't want to use crude ways of explaining this, but sometimes I feel like that's kind of the only way that you really can explain a situation. So it seems like when we're just living on autopilot in life and we're just going through the motions in life, and we're not on a spiritual journey and we're not on a quest to better ourselves, we're just being, right? We're just human beings or human doings or whatever you want to call it. There is plenty of things that will come to you in life as a distraction. And a lot of that stuff comes from the darker side, right? Because it's keeping you distracted in life and keeping you going. You have something, you're cultivating something. Most of these relationships in those types of situations, you try to control them, you're controlling in your life. You're doing everything opposite of what is actually for your greater good because you're not even on your path of what your existence within this life is supposed to be about. So things come to you as distractions in that life, right? And you will have, relationships that, are not for your greater good. You end up attracting the wrong type of person, all of these things. And you'll see patterns that will continue when you're not actually doing what is for your greater good. So I never in my life in the past have I ever been in a situation where if I was interested in a man or if I wanted something going on in my life like that I couldn't find somebody because it was super easy. And the reason why it was super easy is because I didn't really, truly, I thought I did at least the last time that I got in my relationship with my ex-husband. I thought that I had realized that I was getting to a point where I knew what you have your your guidelines of a person that you're looking for, right? And you think, well, I don't want this, or I do want that, or whatever it is, right? And we think that we have it all mapped out of what it is that we're actually looking for. And when it comes down to it, we really don't, because part of what I wasn't looking for and I didn't want was actually in my last husband, the one I'm still married to now. However, things were hidden from me, and when they did come to light, instead of me saying, oh, that's a red flag, I dismissed it because I was already invested. And so I figured, well, hell, who am I to judge? When him and I got together, I was no longer a smoker. I had been a non-smoker for 5 years at that point. I was at the time highly against anybody who used any type of drugs at all, even if it was marijuana. I was highly against that. So just those two things right there were hidden from me in the beginning. And we were a bit into our relationship before those things actually came to light. And those were two things, believe it or not, that were highly on my list of don'ts. Something I didn't want to get into a relationship with anybody who smoked, because I was a non-smoker and I didn't want to go back to that. And I didn't want to be in a relationship with anybody who did drugs or used of any sort, even if it was marijuana, because at that time in my life, I felt that was just something that I didn't want. And they were technically hard no's for me, but clearly not hard enough no's, because I ended up accepting those things and continuing on with the relationship. And yeah, I eventually ended up smoking again. I became a smoker again for the better part of 10 years, almost 10 years. I have 3 years now. I do believe it's 3 years. It's either 3 or 4, something like that, since I've quit again. And I will never go back this time. But we have our do's and don'ts, right? And then when we start to make a connection with someone, we will find at times when we don't want to be alone, that will push something under the rug and feel that it's just not significant enough to, well, we've spent all this time getting to know each other, and they're so great in all these other areas, so he smokes cigarettes, so he likes to get high sometimes. And so what if he's reactive from time to time over things, or he kind of blows his top? For the most part, he's decent. And so you make excuses and you settle, right? And so this is what I mean by darkness will keep you occupied with things. Because I was actually in the beginning of getting on my spiritual journey then, when I had met my current husband 13 years ago. And I feel like it was a way that the darkness doesn't necessarily want you to follow the light. And the sad part about it is, too, really, in all honesty, the darkness that's in this world is man created. It's just like a poltergeist, right? A poltergeist is created from energy. It was not an entity before, but it becomes an entity because we create it. It's the same with the darkness. It's the same situation with looking at the devil or looking at Satan. Satan was actually not a bad angel. Satan actually never rose up against God. We created the darkness that is in that entity. From lies, manipulating the Bible, manipulating the Word of God. I mean, gosh, this is a rabbit hole we could go down. I could be here for hours talking about that, right? And The things that I speak on, I will say this, are not necessarily things that I read in a book or that somebody gives to me. I might read something in a book, but most of the time I'm having those conversations and connections with my higher self and my guides, asking them what it is that I should be taking away from the things that I encounter in life, or the information that's brought to me, what's legitimate and what isn't legitimate, right? And every single one of us is on an individual journey. And your journey is completely different than mine. Like I've said in the past, it's like a thumbprint, or like your person individually. There's not another one like you. There's not another journey like yours. And all of our journeys are different. So that means that something that resonates with me and is good for my journey is not necessarily resonating or good for yours. So I always have those conversations with my guides as to what it is that I'm hearing that is for my greater good and what I need to take away from that, right? But back to the darkness wanting us to be in the dark and living on autopilot, right? That's the gratification that is obtained for dark entities and energies, is us staying on that path that's autopilot, that is not for our greater good. And so lots of things are thrown at us to distract us in life, and they're not the things that are for our greater good. That's the sad part about it. So then this time when I stepped back and I started looking at what my path was going to be like, and of course I'm coming out of a marriage. I am no sooner interested in entertaining a relationship or a commitment to another person right now. I've got to work out things for myself. I have to get myself on the right path. I have to know that I'm healed and I'm centered and I'm good where I am before I can entertain bringing another person in committed on a regular basis. Now, I have seen what my future is going to be like, and I've seen who it's going to be with. That I won't speak on. And the reason why I won't do it is because I just feel that it's not something that I need to talk on. It'll work itself out. And I have spoken, you know, my brother and my best friend, they know where I'm going, where my life is leading, right? I talk with them about things all the time because that validates for me when that stuff comes to fruition. I've spoke on things to my brother before, and I've said to him, this is exactly what's going to happen. This is what it's going to happen and how it's going to happen. And it happens exactly that way. We think it's manifesting, and in complete honesty, it's because our higher self is telling us exactly how it's going to go. And we believe that, you know, I'm manifesting it. I manifested it to happen because it was what I wanted, but it was because that's the way it was supposed to be. And my higher self knew that. So that information was given to me. And, you know, this is another rabbit hole that you could go down. And it's something you could literally just go crazy trying to think about, right? Because the one thing about time there is it runs consecutively all the time. So everything that has happened, that is going to happen, that is happening, it's all done. It's all tied in, right? And our higher selves and our guides already know that. That's why those small pieces of information come to us, because we think to ourselves, oh, I have the freedom of choice, I have this and this and that. And we do, but the thing is our higher self already knows what we chose. Our higher self already knows the path that we've walked. They've already seen it. That's why they're trying to give us the information, and they're trying to cushion the shock of some of the choices that we make and the things that we go through. They're trying to cushion that in this existence for us. So I already know what my future is going to be. I already know. So I'm not going to speak on it. However, it does still make it comical at times that I think I know what's going on. when I actually don't, right? So being, in the situation that now that I'm on a path of spirituality, and I want to do everything that has to do with my greater good. And the funny thing is I will not second guess my guides or my higher self when they tell me something. And I've had it come where I've literally been told to shut something down with somebody. Period. Bottom line. No questions asked. And I've done it, right? Because that's what was told to me to do. It didn't matter if I started liking them. It didn't matter if I enjoyed what was going on. Because as I've talked about before, just because you enjoy something does not mean that it's for your greater good, right? Even intimacy with another person, you can enjoy that, right? You could have the greatest, let me put it out here, the greatest sexual experience in your entire life with somebody, and it was just popping. But that does not mean in the end that that was for your greater good. So in trusting the process and having that connection with your higher self and having that connection with your guides absolutely keeps you on that path of cultivating what's for your greater good. Now, my best friend has said to me, and I know I've brought this up before, that I have a 2x4, a spiritual 2x4 coming, right? And I know I do. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know when it's going to happen, right? But I'm learning to embrace the chaos of things that happen in my life. And I'm also learning that really when it comes down to it, I don't have any control over what's going to happen. All I can do is accept the connection I have to my guides and my higher self and allow them to give me the information and the pieces that I need to cushion what it is that I'm going to go through. So when I have connections with people, I will flat out ask if this person is meant to be in my life, allow it. And if not, then give me this sign or give me that sign or stop this from happening or whatever it is, right? And it's like we always really deep down, if you don't want to know the answer to a question, you shouldn't ask, right? But I always have to know what's going on with me. I feel like I can't waste time on it. I've got to know. And so I feel like I have to ask those questions. I need to know. I don't have control anymore over what's going on in my life because I've backed off and I'm trusting the process. Although sometimes the process isn't exactly fun because maybe it doesn't necessarily happen as quickly as you want it to, or it doesn't happen in the order that you want it to, or you have all of these expectations in your mind of how something is going to work out or map out or whatever, and it doesn't exactly go that route. And that can be frustrating at times, even if you know what the end result is. And I do know what the end result is. I don't know when the end result is. I don't know everything I'm going to have to endure to get there. But I do know what it is. I've seen it. I know it. Yeah, it's in my, it's like, it's cellularly a part of me. I know this. And it can be super frustrating at times because of the person that I am. I want to share information and I can't. And the reason why I can't is because not everybody is ready to know that they've already made their choices. Not everybody's ready for that information. Not everybody is ready to understand that everything that has happened with them has already happened. That their guides and their higher self already know. Whether you're on a spiritual journey or not, it doesn't matter. You have the freedom of choice. You do. See, this is where it gets a little bit murky. So you have the freedom of choice. The thing is that your guides and your higher self already know what you've chosen, if that makes sense. I can explain it that way. So they already know how it's all going to come about because you've already made those decisions where they are, right? So how you're choosing and how you're going is, my thing is that I don't want to, excuse my French, I don't want to fuck around and I don't want to waste time. So instead of trying to control and trying to choose, now that I'm on my spiritual journey, I just step back now and say, okay, what is it that I need to do? What is for my greater good? What am I supposed to follow? What should I be doing now? So I've in a sense, I've given up trying to control it, and I've given up the fantasy that I am in control, and I'm allowing it to come to fruition like it should naturally. And clearly, this path that I'm walking is a path that I had already walked. This can get so, it can get so deep in so many layers to the onion, right? And when you peel back one layer, you think you understand it, and you go a little bit deeper and there's another layer. So what I'm doing now is I'm allowing my higher self to tell me the choices I had already made. So I don't have to go through making them, right? It's easier now to just step back and trust the process. And that is something that I have thrown myself into with complete abandon. I mean, complete abandon. Every once in a while, my ego crops up, and every once in a while, I think, when things don't go my way, I think this is bullshit. You're fucking with me. You know, you're controlling things. I'm not. But ultimately, I am in control. I've just already made those decisions, and my higher self already knows what those decisions are. And that's, you know, it's all a rabbit hole. You could go down this rabbit hole indefinitely forever, and you could literally lose your mind in trying to wrap your thought process around the concept. But we're in a 3D world, right? We're in this 3D reality. So we base everything that we know on this 3D reality, when there is something well above and beyond this little 3D existence that we're sitting in. It's so much higher and so much bigger than yourself, right? And it feels easier to me now to have that connection to my higher self and my guides, so that they can bring me through the process and cushion it for me, because they already know what I'm going to experience and what I'm going to go through. I'm going to depend on them to make it gentler, if that makes sense. To make the process gentler and easier to navigate. Things aren't going as quickly in certain areas that I want them to. Maybe not happening as fast as I want them to, but that's okay. Because in the end, it's all going to work out. It's all going to come in. It's all going to connect. It's all going to make sense. It's all going to map out. And because I have the connection that I have with my higher self and my guides, as I just said a little while ago, I know what that future looks like. I know who's going to be a part of that future. I know what I'm going to be doing in that future. I know all of that because it's already been told to me and given to me. I just don't know exactly how it's going to come about. So instead of trying to control it, I'm sitting back and allowing the process and trusting in what's for my greater good. Trusting that everything that works out is going to be for my greater good. I had a friend of mine that I had stopped communicating with, because he is in a position in his life where he's contemplating rekindling his marriage. Him and his wife are separated. And he's contemplating doing that. And when that conversation came up between the two of us, I respectfully just stepped back and said, I think it's better if we end our communication now, because if you are entertaining this, then I feel you have to put all of your energy into that. I'm not going to be this person over here that's sprinkling, just a little bit of chaos dust, right? Because how do you focus on something 100% if you've got a piece over here, right? And so I backed off, and we haven't talked for a while. And I received a text message today, and I've missed this person. I'm not going to lie. He's a very kind man. I enjoy his energy. I enjoy his affection. I enjoy his time. However, even though things went very well between us, he has a marriage that he's been invested in for, however many years that they've been together. And if that looks capable of being fixed, then that was something that he had to entertain. And now he's not exactly sure if that's what he wanted to do. And okay, so he reaches out to me. How are you? I'm fine. I miss you. I miss you too. I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you too. Me saying, I thought this was what you wanted, and him saying, yeah, it's what I thought I wanted, but now I'm not so sure. And then it was, okay, maybe we should meet up. And then, funny as it was, I was going to say to him, okay, let's meet at, woo woo at this time or whatever. But I told him, give me a couple of minutes. And he said, okay, I have to get on a call really quick. And instead of us having the conversation, I completed what I was doing. He got on his call. And because he accepted that call, right, it ended up taking him somewhere else and stopped the possibility of him and I meeting. And I always say to my guides, if something is not meant to be, stop it from happening, right? Don't let me go through with it. Just stop it from happening. And I'll tell you, they oblige me every time. So, of course, I put out into the universe, and my guides didn't allow anything and stop that from happening. And because I am, close enough with this person, they know the journey that I'm on. They understand that I do connect to my higher self and my guides. And they understand, the universe seeing us and the universe knowing what's going on. And of course, his first comment was, I should have known that as soon as I reached out to you, the universe was going to find a way for that to... And I think the reason why is because he hasn't completely examined the possibility, right? It's only been a few weeks. He hasn't really given it a chance or enough time. And they've had discussions, him and his wife, but not anything concrete. And so trying to get back into this mix over here with me, it wasn't the right time, right? And because I always put forth, if this isn't meant to happen, then stop it. And so it came out that, him and I seeing each other today, because I was going to have other conversations with him about things, wasn't meant to be, right? And it wasn't, or not that it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't for my greater good. It wasn't for my greater good, it wasn't for his. So the universe stopped it from happening. My guides, my higher self, whatever, however you want to call it, stopped it from happening. I have had, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, I have one person in my life who's consistently there, whom my guides keep consistently there. And so, that's a whole nother topic, right? That's probably a topic that I'm probably never going to get into here. It's just trusting the process of what is for my greater good, and just throwing caution to the wind and abandon and allowing my higher self and my guides to take me through this process. Cushion everything as much as can be done that is for my greater good and put me where I'm supposed to be. And so I don't know if this resonated with anyone. I feel like I babbled a lot today. It was something I had to get off my chest, though. I had to talk about it and discuss it. And it's really funny because as I discuss things, and there's times that I'll drive in my car, I'll take myself on a drive. And while I'm driving, I'm talking. I'm talking to my higher self, just like I'm talking to you. And as I talk things out, information comes down to me. And I understand things clearer and better. And having this talk to me today opened me up to understanding that that's exactly what I'm doing. Is I'm just pulling back from my need to try and control stuff, and I'm allowing my guides and my higher self to cushion the process for me. Because sometimes it can be it can be super crazy. And when you think that you know what you're navigating, and you think you know where you're going, and you think you know the path that you're supposed to be on, and sometimes you don't. So when you take a back seat to that and you allow your guides and your higher self to drive the situation, and you trust what they're telling you, and you trust your intuition that they're giving you, it does make this existence and your spiritual journey process softer, easier to navigate. So, like I said, I don't know if that resonated with anyone today. It's things have been ramping up a lot with me lately, and I've recently started to remember my dreams again, which is really, really interesting because for a while there, they were completely blocked from me. So things are definitely changing and shifting. I've been shifting. I've been yawning a lot lately. And that's really funny because got me doing it again. When you yawn, you're shifting and you're releasing things. A lot of people are like, oh, you're yawning, you're tired. No, that's absolutely not what it is. When you yawn, that means your body's shifting, and you're shifting towards something that is for your betterment, right? So pay attention to when you do those things. What's going on around you? What are you talking about when that happens? What are you thinking about if you're sitting in solitude at the time and you begin to yawn? What thought process are you in when that happens? Because when you yawn, your body is releasing. So, and you're shifting. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't know if this resonated with anyone today, and if it did, that's great. Please click subscribe below and like. The likes that I get let me know what content you guys want to hear and what you do like on here. And then I can, continue to cultivate towards making what it is that you're interested in hearing and knowing. You can also follow me on Facebook for my business page, The Easing Spirit, there as well. So I continue to encourage you to live in love and light every day, and namaste. Have a great rest of your day.